ripped the pouch. So this is a Marine Corps issued speed mag pouch, and it ripped before the Tegris did.
Hey guys, I got a product update for you. So very recently did a video on these Raptor adapters from Guardian Warrior Systems, and they were new to me. They're not super new on the market. They've been around like 7 or 9 months now. So even though I just did a video on it, they've been around for a while. Version 2 just came out, which is almost a complete improvement in my mind. So old one was Kydex, new one is Tegris, and I believe he said they are 8-layer Tegris. So if you nerd out on stuff like that, I think the thickest that anybody is really using in the gear world is 12 layers. So this is 8. If you watched my J Tactical J-Hook video, you can see how strong Tegris is. It's plenty strong. And then there'll be 2 clips that I'll work into this video from the guy making these, showing him dropping a 50-pound sandbag on a pouch holding one of these, and the pouch blew out before this did. So plenty strong. All right, so really the tweaks here are very small, right? We changed materials and it allowed for a little bit different assembly. So on the old one, you had the bent over Kydex, and it would get routed through this kind of foot, and then there were these holes here, and you would kind of permanently mount using zip tie through that hole to keep the MOLLE from backing out. Works just fine. The only issue I ran into with it was I had it on a magazine pouch, and because that foot faces the pouch, it put a little bit of pressure on the magazine, and it kind of changed the retention of the pouch. I don't know where I set that pouch. I apologize. It's a mess here. But it was noticeable and not ideal. Anything other than magazine pouch, it really shouldn't come into play unless it's a skin tight pouch or something, like it is that item's pouch. All right. So the new assembly is folded over Tegris, and you can see there's no foot. Additionally, the closure on here is now screws, which is pretty neat. So if you put this together and you're like, yep, that's what I want, you can absolutely Loctite those screws and they won't go anywhere. And then there's screws for mounting to whatever platform you want to put this on, whether it be Techlock or UAB or Safariland stuff, whatever you want. And you can actually request more screws. So if you're mounting anything vertical, you can put as many screws in there as you want. He made a point of saying, if you're doing Techlock and you're vertical, you can put 9 screws in there if that's what you want. If it's canted, 2 is kind of it, so that's why it ships with 2. All right, so I think this is definitely a improved system, mainly because of that foot, but also I'm won over on how strong Tegris really is. It's fairly stiff, so that would be really the only one potential downside that I could see to this is if you're used to these, your item is going to stay where you want it. Exactly, like you're not bending this whole thing hardly at all. This one, on the other hand, if you've got something really heavy in that pouch, you could see a little bit of flex occurring potentially. I did not just break that. That was one of the screws rubbing up against the Tegris. You could potentially see your platform and your position shift a little bit. So, kind of one option to potentially fix that, if you've got a MOLLE pouch on here and it's an older MOLLE pouch set up for malice clips, you can take your MOLLE and you could weave it through one column or one row, and then out around one and then back down. It might be a little bit of a pain to fish that through, but that would really lock in any vertical play on that, and you couldn't really do that with the Kydex. It's not flexible enough, but you can absolutely do it with this if that's something you want. So I think these are absolutely an improvement. It's not, he didn't drop one and then 2 weeks later drop the improvement. It's been a process, but I think these are great. The Tegris is an absolute win, and they're still just as cheap. I think they're $12 a piece or something like that. They're very cheap, and definitely useful in setting up whatever you want to use them for. Thanks, guys.